A couple videos ago, I shared with you my unfolding of a second spiritual awakening and Job unfolding in me. Job, all of the book of Job, like working its way through me and leading me into my second spiritual awakening. And I recorded a bunch of, I should say, I jotted them down on my iPhone as the dreams were happening to me, and as I was experiencing the breaking down of myself through these sometimes troubling and horrible dreams. Uh, I was undergoing that second spiritual awakening. Now, while I was going through the unfolding of Job taking place in me, I had a series of dreams. As I said, I played the part of Peter, and these dreams would happen for 3 days. And I had three of these. And in the first dream I had, while all of this unfolding and second spiritual awakening was happening within me, was with my ex, the girl at the time who we split up, we broke up. And I started going through this change and this unfolding of my second spiritual awakening. And she came to me 3 times in dreams. And the first time, we were sitting on a couch together talking, and the atmosphere of the place and the decor and everything looked very European. Having at that time just come back from visiting my parents and my cousins and seeing their homes and how they live and the decor and the atmosphere of their homes and whatnot, this reminded me very much like it, you know. And we sat down on this couch, and she looked at me and she says to me, "Do you believe in God?" I said, "Yes, I do." The second time we were in the kitchen, she got a glass of water, placed it down in front of me. She stood by the sink and she looked at me and she said, "Do you believe in God?" I said, "Yes, I do." The third time, we were in a room. It looked like a living room, but it was lit like by candlelight. Only there was no candles in the room. It was just the way the room looked. The lighting of the room looked very dim and kind of dull. But yet there was enough light to make your way around the room. And I was sitting down on this couch, and she looks at me and she says, "Do you believe in God?" I said, "Yes, I do." This is John chapter 21 playing out now in my life. And I haven't seen it from the New Testament yet because I haven't gotten to John. I'm still not understanding what is happening to me with Job. And it wouldn't be until like maybe a couple of years after this that I would see it. And also through the help of Neville Goddard. I devoured everything because I heard Neville talking about his experiences. This way, I knew Neville was my teacher because I had the same experiences. And this is what I mean by being able to resonate and to be able to pick up on the frequency that your guru or your guide is telling you through sharing their experiences. And up until Neville, I never heard anyone share their experiences. I was told I was crazy. I had a mental health condition. I was schizophrenic. I had dissociative blah, 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 whatever you can find in your DMV or, the manual for psychologists and psychiatrists. I was told things like that. And then I find Neville in 2018, and everything was me. What Neville was talking about, I experienced it. So that's why I say I think it's important to be able to understand your guide and your guru and not just take it as a teaching or that they know all. Understand where that teaching came from. And Neville spoke to me. But it wouldn't be until a couple of years later that I would see the New Testament unfolding in me, and me myself playing the part of Peter. On the other hand, what I did recognize, because I had experienced myself as the shadow of death, as I said in the previous video, or you could call it the dark night of the soul if you want, that I was me. I was at the gates of death, and I was at the gates of death, and the shadow of death was there right beside me. And at the end of it all, when it removed its hood, it was me. And so I had started seeing myself show up to me. But I was seeing myself as a figure that is beyond recognition. It was me. I recognized myself, but It was a royalty. It was a divinity that was, it's not me in this world. I'm the furthest thing from royalty. I'm as poor as a church mouse, you know what I mean? And I have, I'm just me. I'm just normal, average person. Nothing special, no special appearance about me or anything like that. Just a regular, normal person. Someone that you wouldn't look twice on if you pass them on the street. No different than anybody else that you wouldn't look twice at if you passed on the street. I was one of these people that could just hide in amongst the crowd. I was not noticeable. But in these dreams, when I was appearing to myself, I was, man, supercharged, super powered, super imposed, super magnificent, complete and utter like divinity, royalty. And that's what you will see of yourself when you go through this, because I'm positive you will go through this and you will see yourself on a level that you may not be in this world, but you'll see yourself on a level that is magnificent, beyond magnificent, godly. And yes, it is God. It is absolutely God, because these dreams are spiritual and you're in the spirit, and it is the spirit confronting you, and your spirit and God and you are one. And God can only show up to you as yourself. There is no external God. God will always show up to you in the image that he has created of you. So it will always be you. Brothers and sisters, it does not appear what we shall yet be, but we do know when he appears, we shall be just like him. That's in the letters of John. And I started seeing this happen, taking place, but I didn't see the Bible verse. John chapter 21, the last chapter of John, which most people say is an epilogue. I don't know. It could be. I don't know. I haven't investigated, nor do I care. It possibly is. To me, it just reads like a great novel, very fantastic story, and it's filled with spiritual insight and spiritual growth and whatnot. But I didn't see it yet. And then the second time this happened to me, it was my father. And my father came to me 3 times. And this time, I understood that I was going through some great tribulation. My ex was someone that I had hurt and had hurt me. My father was someone that did the very best that he could, but he had an old school 1920s, 1930s mentality. The discipline was very difficult, very harsh, and very unbearable at times. So I had some mixed feelings about my father, and I know that I also disappointed him too. So this was a tribulation now that's taking place in me, and the only tribulation that you will ever face. There is no external tribulation, no external rapture. There is no external someone coming out of anywhere. It's an internal processing that takes place. It is an internal struggle and fight and confrontation that you must be a part of in order to rise up and become greater and greater than the you that you are in the world. And this is what was taking place within me. I recognized there was a struggle going on because God was now appearing as my ex, as my father, as my mother, as my friend Diane, as people, that had passed away. And when I say God is appearing, is I'm seeing the spirit. And some of this is me playing the part of my ex, my father, my mother, you know what I mean? It's all me playing the part of these people, and confronting myself. And it was always, do you believe in God? My father asked me 3 times, do you believe in God? Yes, I do. And then I didn't jot down the third person, because when it started happening again, I realized at that point that that's the tribulation that was taking place in me. First, Job being ripped apart in some of the most horrible, terrifying ways imaginable. And then all of a sudden, the psychological aspect of being confronted by my behaviors and my faults and my mistakes with my ex, with my father, with my mother, with my family. All of it coming all at once, bombarding me all at once. You want to talk post-traumatic stress disorder? There was sometimes I would have anxiety that would last 4 or 5 days. 4 or 5 days. I couldn't shake the feeling, and I would just be looking for a place to hide. I mean, God literally breaks you down completely in order to build you up greater than what you are, than what you truly are, or what you truly think you are. build you up greater than that. And so I had, like, I believe the third person, because I didn't jot it down. I jotted it down the first 2 times it happened. But by the third time, and when it started happening again, it had dawned on me that I was going through the tribulation process that is spoken of. And I didn't jot it down. And to be honest with you, I'm going to say my mother here, but I don't know if it was my mother that came to me 3 times. It could have been my sister. It could have been someone else in my family. It just seemed that it centered around changing problem areas in my family, in myself, that I may have caused others and others may have caused me. And it was a great big conflict that needed to be resolved. So I don't know if it was my mother, because I didn't jot it down. And that was, like, 8 years ago. And I think it was, I'm just going to say it's her, use her as a third person. But again, this person, my mother, appeared to me 3 times and asked me if I believed in God. And then one of the last times that this happened to me, I was talking with this young girl that I knew. Not young girl, she was probably in her mid-30s, almost late 30s. But, being a 60-year-old man now, I refer to her as a young girl. And her name was Diane. And this is where the book of Acts, and this is where I started seeing that I was playing every part in Scripture. Scripture was unfolding me at such a rapid rate. I was Jesus Christ. I was John the Baptist. I was Paul. I was Isaiah. I was the first person experience of all of these states of consciousness that I have to pass through. And it was all unfolding in me. And it was all pointing to God. It was all pointing to Jesus Christ. All of it was just the unfolding of what you truly are, what you are naturally. You are not a natural person or being in the world. You are just naturally spiritual. End of story. And it was all starting to come together, and it was all unfolding, as I said, at a very quick and very fast pace. And here's where I recognized that the Bible was unfolding in me. I was playing out the part of Paul. I was in a stadium somewhere in Ephesus. In my dream, it looked like ancient Greece. It looked like a theater setting of ancient Greece, with the pillars and the rows of stone as seats all around. And there was a large crowd there, and the crowd was yelling, "Diane, Diana, Diana, Diana," right out of the book of Acts. You can find it in the book of Acts. And then my friend Diane appears to me in a dream. And again, a beauty. In real life, she was beautiful. But she is ugly compared to how beautiful she is in the spiritual sense of things. When I saw her, she was beyond beautiful. She was just glowing, and she was just, I can't, there was a shine. There was a quality of her look that can't be matched here on earth. And I started seeing this later on in other people that would show up in my dreams. And they didn't look, they looked dull and lifeless here on earth, no matter if they were super pageant beautiful. They just looked dull and lifeless compared to where I would see them in that other world, where they just can't even speak of the beauty. The beauty is just beyond understanding. It was a beautiful that has no words, that has no definition. Anyway, she appeared to me, and she says to me, "Do you believe in God?" Now, because I saw this dream, and I was very lucid in this dream, and I saw that she was the goddess Diana, that everyone was worshiping, I spoke to her in a different way. I said to her, "Yes, I do believe in God, but God is not what the world thinks." And I quoted her John 4:24. I said, "God is a spirit. And therefore, God is everything and all at once. God is consciousness. God is light. God is energy." Whereas normally I would say, yes, I believe in God and there is a God and whatnot. I told her that God is not the way of the world, which is the truth, the absolute truth. I didn't lie to her, but it's just I would have phrased it differently, like when I did with my mother and my father and my ex and whatnot. But with her, I went into this explanation where I told her God is not what people think. God is not an external figure. God is a spirit, must be worshipped in spirit and in truth, or in truth and in spirit. Either way, it's John chapter 4, verse 24. And we had this conversation, and then we walked through this forest, and that led to a clearing. And when we came to the clearing, she was no longer with me, and I ended up waking up from that dream. But I found myself playing out scripture, and I was playing out the part of Peter with these 3 situations that came 3 days in a row. And I found that I was playing Peter. And I just wanted to read out this verse here because it's the 3rd time that Jesus asked Peter if he loved him. And this is very much how my dreams went, with the only difference being that I always said yes. And you will have this experience. If you do have this experience, there's just this innate knowing the answer is yes. There is no other answer. You are spiritual, and you are in the spirit at this moment. And the reflection of yourself in your ex, in my father, in my ex, in my father, in my mother, is God, because God is a spirit, and there is only ever one spirit. So it's God playing all of these parts, which are reflections of you. So you will always say yes. I just know it. There is no saying no. You might think you will say no because you're atheist or whatever, or you don't like God, or you don't want God in your life, or because God is a murderer, is a this and that. God is all love, and love is an experience. Love is not what you think is in the world. Oh, she's so pretty, I love her. Oh, he's so handsome, God, I gotta have him. I love him. Honey, I love you. That's not love. Love is an actual real experience. It is beautiful, terrifying, and wonderful at the same time. And all I can say is when you do have it, of seeing that God is all love, it will scare you. It will scare you because it's a very powerful feeling. And I don't know if you will have a dream experience. I didn't have a dream experience when this happened to me. I just knew. And when I knew it, I was afraid. I almost kind of fell back. I'm like, I didn't see this. I mean, God is a rapist. God is a child killer. God is a molester. God is evil. God is a murderer. God is all those things, but God is love. And when you actually do experience this love, it is a real, actual, metaphysical, mystical experience that really changes your mind about all of the negativity that you associate God to. So I don't think you can fail. There's no way you can fail. You're in the spirit. You're in the spirit. You're in God. You are God, one and the same, because God created you in his image. And when you're spiritual, you're God. God is a spirit. And you won't fail. I just knew. No. But the way I would say no to these people in these dreams, it was confidence. I just knew that you couldn't change my mind. You can beat me, you can kill me, you can do whatever you want to me. You're not going to change my mind. I just knew the answer was yes. Always yes. Yes, yes, yes. So I'd like to think that when you do have this experience that, the answer will be yes. Now, on the other spectrum of things, before I read this verse and say goodbye to you guys, on the other spectrum of things, I don't know what was taking place with my ex. Was she thinking about me while I was having these dreams at the time? Was there some sort of telepathic communication going on? I don't know. Was my father thinking about me? I know better than to question the worldly belief system, and I know better than to travel down these roads of logic and reason. That's not the case. I saw it. It was a tribulation. It was a fight. It was a battle that took place within me. And I was confronting every single aspect of myself. And every single aspect of myself in the spiritual sense was God representing those that I was confronting and asking me, do you believe in God? Yes, 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 yes. So I don't know on the other spectrum of things if they were thinking about me. If they were, I don't know. I don't acknowledge that. I don't agree with that. Do I believe that some sort of telepathic communication could happen? Absolutely. I believe that thoughts travel faster than anything in the world, faster than the speed of light. And that doesn't mean that you can communicate telepathically, but you may be able to recognize it after having, say, a conversation with the person that you thought was sending you a telepathic message and paying attention to the words that they are speaking. And you may hear something or another of the voice that you heard in your head. That's one way to show that telepathy is, in a sense, real. But because we are all one, and there's only ever one in the world, it is a line of communication that is really exhausting and is really a bombardment of noise all at once. And that's why you have to quiet the mind, and eventually you'll get to that point where you do quiet the mind. But, some of those voices in your head are absolutely you. Yeah. The things going on in your day and the conversations and the events and the social media and whatnot, those are definitely you. But in amongst all that too, don't forget that, there's other people having similar conversations and the wires can get crossed. But it's a lot of noise pollution, and it's very, very hard to weed out what is and what isn't. And like I said, one of the ways to do that is to pay attention. If you think you heard the voice of your friend and saying so-and-so, when you're having conversations with them, try and pick up on a word or two or three or a sentence that you could say, oh yeah, And at that point too, they won't know that they can do this. And even if you tell them they can do this, it's not something that works all the time. These are those moments where most people use it for negativity, and you don't know what will come of it, where you have a disagreement or a fight with someone and they walk away from you and you say, oh, I wish that person was dead. At that moment, that telepathic signal is received and you don't know what will happen. Because it seems that, when people focus, because everyone always focuses on the negative happens. Very few positive things happen because we don't know how to focus on positive things all the time in our lives. I think one of the best ways to focus on positive things in our lives is just to do unto others as you wish done unto yourself. If you wish yourself to be healthy, wholesome, prosperous, and whatnot, see everyone else around you like that. Again, you have to build it up. It's exercise. You have to build it up. The other thing is to just stay neutral about it. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. Keep it simple. But everyone focuses on the negative. Everyone is bothered. Everyone's antagonized by something or another. Everyone is going through a struggle in their life. And that negativity is the worldly belief system, keeping everyone hostage to that. And very few people see a positive outcome. If our positivity was like that, then when someone walked away and you say, I bless him with $1 million, that guy, that would catch. That would automatically catch right away. And that guy might come into a fortune, But we don't think like that. We think, what an asshole. What a jerk. What a complete and utter fool. Man, I hope his day goes really rotten for him. And you don't know. Because you put that passion and that power into that negativity. It goes out there into the world and it finds a place to settle and cause a disturbance. Now, before I leave, I just wanted to read the last line here to show you how it unfolded and how I recognized it unfolding in me. John 21:17. He saith unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time, Lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Jesus saith unto him, Feed my sheep. You will have this experience. You will play Peter, but you don't know which part of Peter you will play. I played Peter, who was called Satan. I have played Peter, who was willing to sacrifice his life and die for Jesus Christ. I have... You don't know which part of Peter you're going to play. I played this part of Peter, but this was the very beginning of my second spiritual awakening. So Scripture does unfold in you, and you do have experience in the Bible. What you don't have is your teachers, the ones that you call your guides and your gurus, the one with the million people platform, you know what I mean? Social media platform, that don't speak about their experiences. You need more people to speak about these experiences so you yourself understand what you are going through. They can't prevent you from this happening, all right? They can't prevent you from you having your first and second spiritual awakening. You're going to have them either way. Neither by them sharing their experiences can you be prepared for it. But you will understand that when you go through it, you are having an experience. And hearing others' experience, you will know what to expect. And again, you still have to see it through. No one can do the work for you. There's no cheating on this. You still have to go through it. But we have to leave testimonies of what we go through in order to help our brothers and sisters in the world go through their thing, so they understand that there are people that are going through this. They're not just being foolish. They're not crazy. They're not out of their minds. They're actually experiencing the greater they that they are than the they that they are in the world. You know, greater is he that is in you than he who is in the world. Anyways, I know this is a long drawn out video. I'm going to edit it the best that I can, maybe cut it down to about 25 minutes. And I hope most of the good stuff is still in here. I'll see you next time.